Well, let's take a look at Pat Bet-David from Valuetainment.
One of the tweets, I said, our founding fathers, a guy responds back and says, those are not your founding fathers. Mm-hmm. Guy posts a picture of the Shah of Iran, says, that's your founding father.
I don't know, sometimes it's funny when the conservatives, the non-white conservatives find out that they're not white. Yeah, they kind of think because they get popular, they get money, that that the right ain't going to right. For the record, Pat Bet-David, he was born into a Christian family of Assyrian and Armenian descent. Assyrian and Armenian.
Our founding fathers, a guy responds back and says, those are not your founding fathers. Mm-hmm. Guy posts a picture of the Shah of Iran, says, that's your founding father.
Oh, so funny.
But that tells you what, a part of this, there's nationalists and there's white nationalists. Mm-hmm. White nationalists, Vinny, don't want people like us here.
I know.
They just don't. White nationalists are a very different model.
And let me share something with you guys. It's like he's bringing up a point that I brought up with him, but when I brought it up, he acted like he didn't know what the hell I was talking about. And I was talking to Pat Bet-David, and I said, hey, I can't say this guy's bullshit. Black people are 13% of the population, 50% of the homeless population, and this steak oil salesman reduces the causes down to some quick-fire bullet points on his Anthony Robbins Try Harder chart. It does for those who don't work, for those who don't read books to learn ways to improve, for those who feel the world owes them something. All these things, for those who complain for a living, for those who have a victim mentality. So these guys always make it seem like if they did something, everyone else can do it. They also leave out all the people they've effed over in the process. Okay, so I went at him, right? But he did respond. And that's what he said. So you think your mindset is helping your community. Your last comment, they always leave out all the people they've effed over in the process. I interpret that as the only way to make it is to the top is to screw people over. Then Pat Bet-David, he goes into this thing, he says, as a Middle Eastern who grew up with a father who worked as a cashier at a 99-cent store in Inglewood, I could easily bought into the same mindset that you're selling. He says there are a lot of similarities with my culture and yours in constantly playing the victim role. Yeah, he said black people play the victim. I say, now you really don't want to have that conversation. Do we need to talk about discrimination? You and I both know how discriminatory Middle Easterns are to darker-skinned people. Let's focus on your simplistic version of achieving success. You lack context and you know it. He says, wow, that's where you go. Got it. The moment you started insulting, you lost me. Good luck to you. No, Pat Bet-David. You lost me when you started talking with the conservative talking points of the average white bigot. And now he's sitting with his other Middle Eastern friend, whatever this partner on his podcast is. And they're talking about how there's a segment of people that are on the right or that are Elon Musk supporters. Because this is all really about Elon Musk wanting the H-1B visas. And Pat Bet-David is in a club of people that want to help welcome over the people for the H-1B visas. Along with Vivek Ramaswamy, because that's a squad. That's their crew. Just hilarious, guys.
As go back to Iran, deport Elon back to, what do you call it, South Africa.
Because he has no problem looking at racism for what it is, discrimination, and just basic bigotry. He has no problem identifying that when it's him. When it's Elon being told to go back to South Africa. But see, he don't really care about discrimination. What he cares about is helping Elon Musk in this debate, helping Vivek in this debate. And he knows that Trump wants the debate to go through. He wants the H-1B visa thing to be encouraged and expanded. Not that it benefits Black America. Not that it benefits Black workers. There have been studies that have been done how immigration, whether it's illegal or whatever immigration, for some reason, it always hurts Black Americans. That's because we're the last on the totem pole. And people just move into the totem pole above us. And we move down, no matter who it is. And that's because of discrimination. It's not because we don't like people. It's not because we got a bad attitude. It's not because we don't work hard. But that's what Pat Bet-David was selling. He was saying, you have a victim mentality. That's why you can't get ahead. And he summed up what he thought Black people were. Yeah, in fact, what he just said there, I thought was kind of interesting. I wonder how many Black people work for him. And I wonder if they knew that tweet's out there. And I wonder if there's any lawsuits pending against Mr. Pat Bet David. Because he very clearly said that black people have a problem culturally.
Deport Vivek back to India, right? And you make those types of comments. All right, I don't think that's majority of America. I think that's less than 5%.
That is the far right. America.
Yeah, that's the far right.
Ultra-nationalists.
That's the far.
He said less than 5% of America are opposed to H-1B visas. Nah, that's not true at all. Just like it's not true, a lot of Americans are opposed to the open border situation, the lax border of Joe Biden. That was the majority of Americans, Pat. One of the main reasons why Kamala and Biden lost the election. Obviously, far more racist people in America than just 5%. I mean, take you, for instance. A guy who's afforded all these rights in America that black people died for. He gets to come over and enjoy them. And what does he do? He says black people have a culture problem. We see ourselves as victims.
All right. And the far left wants open borders and let everybody come in here. Let's legalize everyone. The far right wants, if you're not a white nationalist, get the hell out of here.
Does that include black people? Because we're here. Because you told me it was a victim mentality when you were selling this. You just got to work hard. You just got to do this and put yourself up by your bootstraps. When you were giving me the same song and dance that you give, that rich white people been giving poor white people and black people since the invention of whatever. Back when they were discriminating on black people and were writing into the deeds that white homeowners could not sell their homes to black people. There were white people like you, Pat Bet David, that were still saying, put yourself up by your bootstraps. Even when they said if you sell it to a black person, the deed is void and we get to take your home from the white person. So we had black people who had to get their white friends to buy the houses and then sign them over to the black people. Senator Cory Booker talks about that's how him and his family got into New Jersey.
The problem here is you as a consumer not knowing the position of the individual before they say it, and you think everyone is in that position. They're not. Not everyone's in that position.
He's going to go back to his dad. His dad worked at the dollar store. Hey, Pat Bet David, who owned the dollar store? I remember when I was in IT, man, and I was in between jobs, and I was just tired of getting turned down for IT positions, right? So there was a video rental store across the street from where I lived. It was owned by I want to say a Korean man. And I was in a store one day, I was getting a movie, and I said, hey, you have any job openings? He was like, you want to work here? I was like, yeah. I live right across the street. Living in Riverdale, Maryland, about 20 minutes from DC. But instead of going downtown every day, getting the door slammed in my face, it looked like, why not just go right here? I can walk across the street to this job. And the hoops that the Korean guy tried to make me jump through to get this job working at the rental store because I was black. He was like, where is your father? I'm a grown-ass man with a kid. But I remember what he said. He said, I would hire you, but you are black. What I would need from you is you to have your father come here and vouch for you. I'd have to see what kind of man your father is before I hired you. Because he had such a stigma about black people. He'll exploit them and charge them astronomical fees for being late on a video. But to employ them? Oh God, it was almost like I had to put his kids in my will or some shit. So I'm asking you, Pat Bet David, because we never had that conversation. You said your dad worked at the dollar store or whatever. Who owned it? Could he speak the language when he got the job? Just wondering. I got a feeling someone of similar ethnicity owned that dollar store. And I got a feeling he didn't stay being at the 99-cent store working as a clerk. Sort of like that story that Gary Vaynerchuk tells about his dad. His dad worked at the liquor store. Poor Russian dude from Belarus worked at the liquor store, slaving away, and then somehow he buys the liquor store. Well, to buy it, someone had to be willing to sell it to you, Belarusian ass. And I got a feeling he was selling the ninjas. So there's always parts of the story that these guys leave out. And if you don't have the wherewithal to dig, they're not going to tell you. They're just going to continue to try to make it seem like it's something wrong with you. Because their job is not to tell you the truth, but to cheapen your argument and sell themselves as the upstart. They're the upstart ones. They're the ones coming in with nothing. They came in with nothing. Yeah, nothing. They came in with nothing. Sort of like the immigrants that are coming here now who get EBT cards, roof over head for 6 months. Yeah, sort of like that. They came with nothing in their pockets, and then once they got over here and that paperwork put through, they got a lot of shit. Were you staying at a shelter, Pat Bet David, when your parents came over? Since you were working at the 99-cent store, your dad was? What kind of shelter was it? How long were you in a shelter? So when we start digging down and asking these questions, because they love telling these hard luck stories, how they didn't have anything. They came over, they didn't have money. Okay. All right. Tell us more. Let's have a deep dive on that. Let's have a deep dive on it. Pat Bet David complaining about MAGA supporters being MAGA.